Hi everyone, it's Olivia from Girlybunches, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make, not this because that looks really uninspiring, doesn't it, but I'm going to show you how to make the bag that I showed you in a vlog video that I did a couple of weekends ago. I'll just put a little clip in now of me rambling on about it, but I'm talking over myself now. But this here is a little sample that I've made, which is little, but again I only have this much room to show you, so this is going to be sort of like a close-up. So this would be the inside of the bag. What's gone off here? Oh, it's a little tuft of changed yarn. There's only a sample, so I didn't sew in the ends, but yeah, so there's an example of sew in your ends properly. Okay, so that's the inside of the bag, and then you've got the outside, which gives you this lovely ridged pattern. This feels great. And in the video, the vlog video, I explained how it was one long piece, so I think you can sort of get the idea that this is obviously the bag bit, and this is where the handle's attached to. So if you're making a knitting bag and you've got the firm handles, you get like a bar bit, and then you've got a bit that you can slot this bit through, and then you can sew this down, so you can have the handles going through here or attached to the outside. So this edge bit is twice the length that you want it to be, so that it's nice and firm. So when you sew this down, you've got a nice firm bit to sew that to and to attach your handles to, because if you don't have a strong bit that the handles attached to, then your bag you could stretch out of shape. So it's one long piece. Like I said, this bit is double the length that you need it to be, and this part of is the bag that will be the bits that you hold all your stuff in. So if I just fold those two bits over, and then I fold it like that, you can see now that that's sort of the shape of the bag that's in the video. I've put a link down below to that video, and basically I'm just going to be showing you the principles, because I don't know how big you want your bag to be. I don't know how big your handles might be, if you've got some handles to use. Someone left a great comment on the video, actually, the vlog video, saying that, you know, I bought the bag handles from eBay, but a perfect idea, should have thought of this myself, and yeah, go to a thrift or second-hand store and buy a bag that's got some handles on it. You should be able to use those. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all, and all for recycling things. So yeah, this is going to be the general shape, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, so number of stitches that you will need to make a bag with will depend on obviously what size you want it. In the video that I showed you, I believe the half of the bit that was folded over, so this was 15 stitches, so the other side had to be 15 as well, so that was 30 stitches there. So this end would also have to be 30 stitches, and I believe that the middle bit was 70 stitches in the one that I showed you. So you add that together, so that's 30, 70 comes to 100, plus another 30 is 130, plus one more chain. On that very first row you just need to do one extra chain, so that side here would be 31, for example. So we'd have 30, 70, 100, and then 131. Okay, so that's just the general principle, because you want those two bits to be the same, and you want a nice length for your bag. Okay, so like I said, in this one I'm going to do 10 stitches here, do 10 stitches in the middle bit and 10 stitches here. So we're going to do 10 double crochets. So to start this off, we skip the first loop and the first chain, and then go into the second chain. So that's why we did that extra one. So into the second chain, if I can see what I'm doing through the camera, there it is. Second chain, we're going to do one double, 2, 3, 4, oops, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and now we're going to do 10 trebles, which you may know as a double. So this is going to get very confusing. Just remember, I'm British. I'll put a link down below to the video explaining the differences. So I've done 10 trebles, oh, tongue tied, and now I'm going to do 10 trebles. So just start working the stitches into the next ones along. Right, last one, last treble there, like that. I'll show you what I've got, and again I now should have 10 stitches left here to do my last 10 doubles all the way to the end. So fingers crossed I did the right number of stitches. Okay, so there we go. That's our first row done. Now, as you can see, quite rightly, this bit is wider than this bit, and that is how the whole bag gets its shape, because you're working a wider stitch here than you are here, so it gets this nice sort of billowed out shape here, and makes you have a nice amount of room to keep all your stuff in your bag with a nice firm top to it. Okay, so the next round, the next row, what we're going to do, again, I'm going to do 10 or however many you're going to do, but in this video I'm going to do 10 doubles coming back here, and I'm going to start working trebles for another 10 stitches, and then again always finish with your 10 doubles here. So when we come back this way, in order to get this nice ridge effect, we're going to work around the posts. So let me just get to that stage and I'll show you what I mean. So to turn, you're going to chain 1 like this, turn the work around, get your tail out of the way, and we're going to work into that stitch, into that same place there, and that gives you a nice edge then. So we've got 1, okay, so now what we're going to be doing is working around the front of the post, which means that the treble is now going to be called a post, and you put your hook around the front, so you're putting it down through there and putting it through this front bit and pulling it up like that, so between the 2 gaps. Okay, there's the gaps like that, so not into the top like we're used to, but round the front of the post. Now I highly recommend you go and watch my basket weave video, because that will give you more idea of what I'm doing here. But just so I can show you how to do the bag, we're going to work the treble around the front. So yarn over the hook just like you would normally do, but instead of putting it through this top loops here, we're just going to put the hook down and around the front of that post. And I'm calling it the front because this is the front bit here, and you just work your stitch as normal, but you've worked around that post. Okay, let me get to the end of that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3 more. So again, yarn over the hook, down around the front of that post, pull the yarn up like you would normally do, and just work your stitch. So that's 8. Does that help? If I turn that over, and you might be able to see that better. Okay, so it's down round the front and pull the yarn through and work the stitch just as normal. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, one more. 10. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just work the rest of those doubles to the end. So that again should be 10. Whoops, one there. Split my yarn. There we go. That's better. Okay, so there we go. That's our second round done. Now if I turn that over, you can see what I mean about those stitches have been pushed forward to give that ridged effect, like that. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that better if I do that. So it gives that lovely ridged effect. Okay, so for the third row, again, we're going to chain 1, turn the work, and again we're going to work into that same space there, and we're going to do 10 double crochets. Like that. Okay, and then this row, all we're going to do is just work a normal treble into the top of the stitch. So that's going to be 10 in this case. Oops. And then again 10 double crochets to the end. Okay, so it's starting to take shape now. You can see that ridge there, like that. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to come back again, double crochets to here, and then do exactly like we did on that second round and work around the front of the posts. So one more time, we're going to chain 1, turn the work, and we're going to double crochet into that same space there and do our 10. And again we're trebling but around the front posts, so just like I showed you, around that post like that and work the treble, and we're going to do that 10 times. And then again 10 double crochets to the end. Can you hear the ice cream van outside? It's really not the weather for ice cream today. Do you get that? Yeah. Do you get that? Yeah, you get that where you are, won't you? It's quite a common worldwide thing, isn't it? An ice cream van. Bless them. It must be hard when it's summer and it rains all the time, like it does in England. But yes, they come out every day regardless. Okay, at least it's not neighbours drilling this time. Right, so that's we've now done 4 rows now. Yes, we've done 4 rows. If I turn that over, you start to see now that lovely ridge effect is appearing. So that is it. You just keep repeating those 2 rows all the way to the end. I would say do even numbers of rows, because as you can see it's left a very similar edge here to how it is on this side. If I just show you this big one, you can see that when you know, if you did another row there, it would be a flat bit and that would look odd, because you've got this sort of, you can see what I mean about this sort of edge here. They look the same on both sides. So do even numbers of rows, and you just literally repeat what I've shown you until your project is as wide as you want it to be. and that would be as for the bag width that you want. So when you've got the width that you want, you have made your bag, and there's nothing to stop you from doing each row in a different colour. That would look fabulous, I think, actually. Thinking about that, that would look fantastic. But yeah, you just want to sew your ends in, and then you want to sew your handles on, whether you have the rigid handles like I discussed or the handles that I used. Just a little point actually, in the bag that I made, I actually sewed in a piece of felt here into that middle bit, so what that meant is it actually made that even more stronger. Yeah, and so you want to do that on the both sides. I kept mine really simple. To line it, what I did was I took fabric that was slightly longer than this bit, and I hand sewed it to the inside. I think I've got some pictures of me sewing it, so I'm just going to insert them in here. And as you can see, what I did was I just sewed it, hand sewed it down on the edges, and then I didn't put any pockets or anything in because I was mainly kind of just trying to work out how to line it. So yes, I just aligned it with an old t-shirt, in fact, an old t-shirt. And when I hand sewed it to the edges, like I've said about 10 times now, sorry, hand sewed it to the edges, and then when it came to sewing it together, the sides together, so if you imagine I'd already done that bit, I turned it inside out and I crocheted the edges together, and I've shown you how to do that in joining granny squares video. Have I shown? Yes, I have shown you that, but I'll just quickly show you now. If I use a different colour yarn, that might help you see what I'm doing. Okay, because you wouldn't do this, you would use the same colour yarn, but I just want to show you what to do. It's easier if it's a different colour yarn. So what I did was I started at the bottom. Make sure you've got these two bits lined up so you've got them in the right place. And with the yarn on the hook like this, you're literally going to go through those two stitches, pull the yarn through and do, so I'm going to do a slip stitch there, pull that tight, you see, then I did a chain, and then I literally just went through the next two sides. You can see that, and I pulled and did a double all the way through like that, and as you can see, that makes a nice, I mean, you could hand sew it if you wanted to, nothing to stop you from hand sewing it at all. I just think this might be a bit more stronger, well, for me anyway. You might be good at sewing. So just keep going. God, can you hear the wind now outside? God, it's all happening here today, I can tell you. Crochet handbags, wind, ice cream vans. Okay, so what I didn't go all the way up to the top of the bag, because if you do it all the way at the top, all you've got is that opening. And as you can see, that's not quite big enough to get you anything. Obviously it's a smaller bag, but it's not big enough to get your hand in, so I left it well, probably not that much, but I probably stopped about there so that you've got a bigger space to sort of look into your bag with. And I think what I did then, after I'd gone as far as I wanted to, I then went back the other way, just doing slip stitches like that, which is where you don't put the yarn over the hook before you don't do that or anything. You just put the hook through and pull it straight through that first loop like that. Yeah, that's what I did. So I did that on both sides. yeah, that's what I did, and then I just cut my ends and sewed them. And if you turn that in the other way round, obviously if you've used the same yarn you won't see it, but it gives you that lovely sort of boxed edge. I think you can see that, can't you? Yeah. So yeah, don't use a different colour yarn. Oh, anyway, you know what I mean. So yeah, that gives a nice boxed edge then to your bag, and I think this is a great style, as in it's easy to do. You don't have to worry about sewing extra bits on, because I think if you start having to sew extra bits on, you start to lose the strength, don't you? You have weak points, so having them together is great. And yeah, that would go down like that, and that would be your bag. And the way that this fans out means that you get a nice wider shaped bag, and you get a smaller opening at the top. Or, you know, you could do the whole bag like this if you wanted to. I just think that this gives it an unusual shape, pretty shape, I personally think anyway. But yeah, that is literally how I made that bag, and I've given you now ideas on how to make your own bag. This middle bit could be whatever stitch you wanted it to be, you know, it doesn't have to be what I've shown you. This could be, if you've got a favourite pattern that you want to use, then go for it, use it. But this is just how I did it, and hopefully giving you inspiration on how to make your very own bag. No one else will have it, only you in the whole world, and that's the sort of thing that I like about making things for myself, and I hope you do too. So I hope you found this video helpful. I've put links down below for you to be able to see other videos explaining things that I've shown you here. I'd love a thumbs up if you found this helpful. You know where to find me: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and like I've said, I've got the new website now where I've got blog posts on there. So I will be posting links to some videos on there. I've got the basic stitches on there, so I shall be adding to that. It's still a new website, so there's still more content to come. So yes, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you very soon. Take care for now. Bye bye.